ESPN's Nick Wagner, shout out how he spells his last name. Have you seen how he spells his last name? Wagoner. I'm always a fan of like a random letter just tossed into a name. Wagoner. That's awesome. That's just a great way to spell your last name. It's like Isaiah with 2 H's or Keanu with 2 E's. Gets me every time. But I'm like, fantastic, just random way to make this unique. I love it. He believes that Debo Samuel is looking at a day 3 pick. Quote, because Samuel is coming off a down year and is entering the final year of his contract with other top receivers set to be available in free agency or trade, a day 3 draft pick and perhaps another late round pick would probably satisfy the 49ers. Wow, I got to check out the internet, guys. I apologize here for every time I go off. You look at Debo Samuel, you say you're paying him $15 million this year, and then he's a free agent afterwards. To give up a day 3 pick probably means, a high-end 4th, but I would imagine it's a 5th round pick. I don't think you're going much higher than that. I'm more comfortable with that situation. I, again, think that if Cooper Kupp goes for the same price, you go for Cooper Kupp over you would Debo Samuel, and I just think that that's an easy call. It's not a difficult call at all. Cooper gives you what you need. That's my argument right now for the Steelers. They don't need a bunch of Cordero Pattersons. They don't need a bunch of Calvin Austins. They don't need gadget guys. They don't need these dudes that can make a bunch of plays. Get your quarterback, whoever it's going to be, a bunch of wide receivers. Very good, reliable wide receivers. Ones that will catch the football, ones that will get open. That's what you're looking for. I don't care if he lines up in the backfield. That's never going to happen in Pittsburgh. Never once. That being said, you look at a good 4th, maybe a 5th round pick for Debo Samuel, and what is your thoughts?
The acquisition cost was never an issue for me because we always expected it was going to be a 4th or a 5th. I mean, if it was a 3rd, it would have been a little bit surprising. So acquisition cost has never been an issue for me. The issue for me is Debo Samuel's coming over on the last year of a contract. He's going to want an extension. That's not a player that you want to extend. I know that he's played 15 games this past season. He was surprisingly one of the healthier members of the San Francisco 49ers offense, but he still wasn't healthy. Every time he went into a game, he was going in with an injury designation, whether it was the shoulder, whether it was his lower body. This is a guy that played a bruising style of football for the majority of his early career in the NFL. That wears on a player. He just doesn't have it at that level, and nobody expects him to have it at that level. There's a reason that whenever the big conversation was being had after their first run of the Super Bowl, it was, well, he should be paid as a wide receiver plus the payment that he's getting as a running back because he's taking all of those hits. Well, a couple years later, and those hits have accrued, and that has become an issue for Debo Samuel. So I don't care if it's a mid-round pick. I expected it to be a day 3 pick. I didn't expect it to be anything higher. Acquisition cost is not the issue to me for Debo Samuel. It's what you're getting and what he's going to want. You're getting a guy that's on a downswing, and he's going to want a decent-sized extension before he enters this season. I just don't think that that's a situation that you want to kind of willingly put yourself into. I think there's other options that you can go out for. Get somebody who's on a better deal, in a better situation, and has a little bit more left in the tank. Yeah. There's other options. I don't need to go into them, but that's just what I think on Debo.
Look, I agree. There's just there's no part of me right now or a year ago that was into the Debo Samuel trade, and nothing's going to change. That just doesn't make sense to me as the Steelers. It doesn't make sense to me for most teams. Debo is not a guy that I'm giving much up for. He's a guy that he was great in San Francisco and he's awesome, but he's 30 years old and he's beat up. That's just what it is. Like you if you had kick return value, if you had something there, you could go out and get him. But for a guy that you're going to bank on, like the Steelers have their bottom of the depth chart guys. They have a guy in Calvin Austin that I think could be way better with a better quarterback and a better offense. They have a guy in Roman Wilson that we have no idea what's going to happen, but he's drafted in the 3rd round. They're not going to just ignore this guy forever. They're going to try to give him a shot. They have those guys. You don't need that's your Debo Samuel. That's where he'd be on the depth chart is 3rd or 4th. You already have your 3rd and 4th. You need your 1 and 2 figured out. You need your 1 and 2 and 2B figured out. That's what you need. You know, Debo he just doesn't fit the mold for me. Cooper Kupp's a 2. You draft Cooper Kupp, he's a 2. Maybe he's a 2B, but he's a 2. Debo's a 3 at best. That's what he is. And I just don't think you're getting your money's worth for a guy like that. I just don't think he's worth it for the Steelers. I honestly would be a little disappointed if it turns out to be the truth there. And I could be totally wrong, but I don't know. An offense that underperforms, that doesn't have much burst to begin with. It's almost as if, and this is a tear. I don't want to take a jab at somebody, but I'm not. But I'm not going to try to. But this is like the biggest thing with Najee Harris is he's reliable. He'll get you 1,000 yards. He's going to get you the tough yards. That's what he's going to do. But there's no oomph. There's no oomph with Najee Harris. There's a punch. There's no oomph. And it's like getting a car. You know what I mean? You put your foot to the gas and it still goes real slow and you're going, all right, nothing. That's how I look at Debo. Like, Debo punch you. He'll get you. He'll get you those 4 yards. But, like, the Steelers offense has no oomph. They need some oomph. And that's not Debo Samuel. I don't think I'd be into it. We'll see what happens. It's early. It's early. I got about 100 phone calls yesterday of people saying, dude, do you know Bob Pompiani mentioned your name on the fan? I was like, no, but thanks, Bob. Shout out Bob.